Hey guys, this is the video you guys been waiting for. I have had a lot of responses for needing help with IPs for my own students and to everybody in there in YouTube. So this is gonna be a complete video, nice and easy, on IP addressing. I'm gonna go over all the different types of IPs, meaning the classes, default mask, ranges, private classes, ranges, mask, okay? And then we get into the assigning IPs, subnetting. Now I'm going to go over this video as far as route summarization, and I'm not going to go over DLSM. Those will be two separate actual videos that I'll be doing probably next week or the following week. All right, so I can upload them. This is going to be at least to get you going with IPs and subnetting. All right, so we're going to start from the very basics, all the way to subnetting. So take notes. Okay. So first, let's learn the classes for, I'm just going to tell you what the classes are. So we have the classes, which A, B, and C are the ones we normally deal with, but I'm going to tell you D and E as well. Okay? Even though A, B, C are the ones you work with. And the ranges. Now, this is the entire range. Okay? This is going to be the ranges from 1 to 126. 128 to 191, 192 to 223, 224, all the way to 239, and 240 to 255. Now, let's put the default mask, which is the CIDR, okay? CIDR, C-I-D-R, which stands for Classless Interdomain Routing. The CIDR for an A is an 8. The CIDR for a B is a 16. And the CIDR for a C is a 24. Okay? That does not apply to these two down here. The D is for multicasting. And the E is for experimental. What type of experiment is? I have no clue. All right? Every book that I've read, everywhere I've seen, it just says experimental. So don't worry about it because we don't get tested on. Okay? And we don't need to use it. Now, when we talk about the ranges, how we classify, okay? If it's an A, B, or C, is not, these ranges are in the first octet. And an IP version 4 address has 1, 2, 3, 4 octets, meaning there's 8 bits in each one. 4 is 32-bit address. IP version 4, 32 bits. So when we classify an IP address, we're looking at the first octet. So when you see that there's, let's say, a 111 here, well, that falls in this range. Therefore, that's a class A. By default, it will have a CIDR 8. So by looking at the first octet is what we know of it, how we know if it's a class A, B, or C, or D or E, whatever the case may be. All right. Now, there's some addresses here that I didn't put. What happened to the 0? What happened to the 127? Okay? 0 is reserved. It is the universal gateway. We use it for default routes. Therefore, 0 is not used. And 127, we all know, is the loopback. Now remember, in IP version 4, the entire 127.0.0.0 through 127.255, all has loopback. Yes. Do we pay 127.0.0.1? Yes, that's how we test it. When you go on your test, that's the address you got to put down. But anything in that range will give you the same thing as the 127.0.0.1. Okay? So now, that's the reason we don't use those two in the range. Okay? All right. So now you know your classes, A, B, C, D, and E, and their ranges. You just need to memorize. There's no math involved here. Basically, it's memorization. Another thing, the CIDR, which is the subnet mask, it has nothing to do with the class of address. You can have a class A with a 16 mask. You can have a class A with a 24 mask. That means it's just a class A that has been subnetted. Okay, we'll do subnetting later. So don't let anybody tell you that, oh, if you have something that you classify as an A but has a 24 mask, that means it's a class C. That is incorrect. That is false. All right. So these are your entire ranges. Now I'm not going to focus anymore on the D, Eddie. So I'm going to erase these. Okay. And I'm now going to give you the private range, which private meaning they're not routable on the internet. So a class A is from 10.0.0.0 all the way through 10.255.255.255. Now, yes, this is a 0. I know my handwriting is something to be deserved. Okay? We classified it. It's an A, right? First octet falls in that range. They decided, powers that be, that the entire 10 is going to be private. So that's the entire range, and the default mask naturally is a CIDR 8. Okay? Now for the B, 172.16.0.0 through 172.31.255.255. Okay, now, careful here. Yes, it's true that a Class B address by default is a CIDR 16. You input anything that starts within the 172 or from the, from the 128 to the 191 inside your properties of your TCP/IP, and you hit tab, yes, it's going to be a 255.255.0.0. But I'm here to tell you now that why do they choose from 1631? The default mask in a private Class B, excuse me for a second, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that. A little dusty. By 1631. What is the default mask there? It's not a CIDR 16, right? It's a CIDR 12. So for a default Class B, the mask is a CIDR 12. Okay, a CIDR 12, and I'll work it out in a little bit after I tell you the Class C address, because you can probably see it a lot easier. And I'll work it out to show you, to prove to you that it is a 12. And a C is from 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. And here again, we have a little different mask for privates. 16. Because where is that imaginary layer? Right here. You see the 192.168 doesn't change. So the ones that change are the last two octets. Okay? Therefore, the default is a CIDR 16. Do we see this in the properties of TCP/IP? Of course not. We hit a tab, boom, it gives us 255.255.255.0. Yes. That is a default mask on your test. That's what you answer. But no, how do they come up with all these, the third octet changes? Because here is your line, right? There is the network portion. There is the host portion. That's how come this number can change, right? From 0 all the way up to 255. So once you start doing the subnetting, you'll see it. Now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to erase this. I hope you wrote this down. Again, this is something you must commit to memory. And ask a question like this on the CCNA, be happy. You'll pass it 1, 2, 3.